The film opens in the Virginia woods in 1864, 3 years into the Civil War. A young girl named Amelia is collecting mushrooms when she unexpectedly discovers an injured soldier leaning against a tree. He introduces himself as Corporal John McBurney. Concerned for his well-being, Amelia offers to help him and mentions that she lives at a nearby school run by Miss Martha Farnsworth, accompanied by 4 other students and 1 teacher. When John asks if there are any men around, Amelia reassures him that they are alone but expresses her uncertainty about how he might be received as a Yankee. Trusting her and believing that the school is a safer option than the woods, he accepts her help, and she guides him toward the school. Along the way she shares that her Miss Martha keeps the school open because the students have nowhere else to go. When Amelia asks him if he ran away, John tells her that he got separated from his group after they were attacked. At the school, while Edwina, the teacher, is leading a lesson with 3 students, Miss Martha is working in the yard. Suddenly, Amelia runs in, shouting for help. Everyone rushes outside, alarmed by her cries. When they arrive they find the exhausted John lying unconscious on the ground. Despite him being a soldier from the opposing side, Miss Martha decides to bring him inside. As they get ready to tend to his wounds, she asks Amelia to bring a blue rag and tie it to the gate to signal that they have a Union soldier with them. However, the students urge her to wait until John is well enough before doing that. Considering their concerns, she agrees and takes John to the music room to treat his injuries. Miss Martha carefully removes metal pieces from John's injured legs with Edwina's help. While he is being treated, the other girls stand outside the room, eager to overhear the conversation. They are both intrigued and cautious about his presence. They soon get caught by Miss Martha and Edwina. When the students ask if he is going to die, they reassure them that he might recover soon. Amelia then reveals his identity to the group. In response, Miss Martha suggests that they do not need to know his name since he will be leaving soon. Edwina then takes the students to the sewing room while Miss Martha stitches and cleans John in the music room. After completing her task, she locks him in the music room. Later that evening, a bell rings, waking John. The bell signifies the arrival of Confederate soldiers at the school. The students want to greet the soldiers, but Miss Martha forbids them since they are bringing enemy soldiers with them. Instead, she goes to meet them at the gate herself. The captain asks if they are alone, and she assures him that they are safe, omitting the fact that a Union soldier is on the premises. She asks for some cartridges for her revolver, which belong to her father, explaining that it would make her feel safer to know she has it available if needed. As she speaks with the captain, the students peek out from the windows, curious about whether she will turn John over to the patrol. The captain grants her request and hands her some cartridges before leaving. The students are shocked to learn that Miss Martha did not reveal the soldier's presence in the school. Taking the cartridges, Miss Martha goes to her room, where she loads her revolver and hides it away in a drawer. A while later, Edwina catches Amelia talking to John in private. Alarmed, she quickly pulls Amelia out of the room. During their prayer time, Edwina offers a special prayer for the swift recovery of the injured soldier and for his quick departure. The next morning, during breakfast, Jane, one of the students, expresses her concern about practicing the violin in the music room with the presence of an enemy soldier nearby. Edwina reassures her that the soldier will remain there as long as he is unwell, and they will not play the violin until he recovers. After completing their daily chores, Miss Martha heads to the music room to check on John. He expresses that he might be disrupting the school with his presence, and Miss Martha agrees, making it clear that he is disturbing the surrounding of her school. Grateful for her help, John tells her that without her, he would likely be dead. In response, she reminds him that he is not a guest but rather an unwelcome visitor, and they have no intention of entertaining him. While they talk, Alicia, another student, enters and asks if she can help. Miss Martha replies that no help is needed and states that the room is off limits. Hearing this, John insists that they can trust him, but Miss Martha retorts that she does not know him and leaves the room. The entire school seems to be getting ready to visit the soldier, bringing him whatever gifts they can find. Edwina also goes to see him, and as she tends to his wounds, they begin to share details about their lives. John asks about her background and flirts with her. During their conversation, he takes her hand and asks what she would wish for if she could have anything. Edwina confides that she dreams of being taken far away from the school. That evening, while everyone gathers in the prayer room, Alicia quietly excuses herself and sneaks into the music room. She leans down and kisses John, who is asleep, then whispers goodnight as he wakes up. After that, she leaves to join the others in the prayer room. After the prayer, everyone gathers for dinner, and Miss Martha encourages each person to share their thoughts and lessons learned from the unexpected arrival of the injured soldier. Some students express that they should always believe in the power of sacrifice and prayer while he is there, while others feel they should welcome whatever comes from the outside world. As they share their feelings, Alicia and Edwina find themselves attracted to John, while others view him as an enemy or see him as someone with knowledge about the outside world. Miss Martha reminds them that if they can learn valuable lessons at a young age, they will lead calm and composed lives in the future. She encourages everyone to invite the soldier to join them in prayer after dinner, and everyone agrees. After the meal, they head to the music room to ask John to join the prayer. He agrees, and Miss Martha instructs the girls to play music and sing. As they become absorbed in the song, a loud banging suddenly echoes from the door. Miss Martha tells Edwina to stay with the girls while she goes to check who is at the door. Before leaving, she informs Edwina that she will knock 3 times if it is enemy soldiers, and Edwina says they will go to the woods to meet her if that happens. Amelia worries about John, but Miss Martha insists he must stay behind since he is still unwell. Armed with her revolver, she goes to answer the door. When she opens it, she discovers it is their own people. She brings the men into the kitchen and then approaches the music room, where the girls are frightened. Miss Martha reassures them that it is their own soldiers who have come to help. She shares her plan to inform them about Corporal John so they can ensure his safety. However, Edwina and the other students insist they need to let him heal first before turning him over. They plead with Miss Martha to let him stay until he is fully recovered, and she ultimately agrees. She then instructs everyone to head to bed. Once the others leave, she invites John to join her for a drink, and he happily accepts. At night, after the soldiers leave the school, John joins Miss Martha for a drink. He expresses his admiration for her strength and resilience. Miss Martha acknowledges that while she sometimes feels tired, she believes it is important to provide the girls with what they need to survive during the war. Out of the blue, John asks her if she had anyone special before the war, and she admits that she did. After sharing her story, John shares his journey to becoming a soldier. Upon hearing his part, Miss Martha decides it is best to leave him to rest. As the days pass, John begins to heal. He can now stand and walk with some support, and he starts helping out in the garden. He forms a friendly bond with Amelia, the girl who helped him get to the school and cared for him. However, Alicia, feeling increasingly attracted to John, becomes jealous of his friendship with Amelia and warns her not to say anything negative about her to him. One day, while John is working in the garden, Miss Martha comes by to check on him as he takes a break. She examines his wound, which is healing well, and mentions that he might soon be able to rejoin his troop. John interprets this as a hint that she wants him to leave and asks her directly. Miss Martha replies that his wounds will be fully healed in a few days, at which point he can depart. However, John says he has nowhere to go, which Miss Martha considers none of her concern. He then suggests extending his stay by offering to take care of the garden, but Miss Martha knows that having someone tend to the garden during wartime is not feasible. Meanwhile, Amelia shares with Jane and Alicia that Miss Martha is planning to ask John to leave soon, and the girls are not ready for that. Alicia decides to take action so that he will not want to leave them. Jane suggests they should convince Miss Martha to let them join John for dinner, to which both Amelia and Alicia agree. Later, Edwina visits John in the music room. He expresses how much he misses being close to her, and she confesses that she does not want him to go. John takes her hand and confesses his love for her, but Edwina cautions him not to say things he does not truly mean. John insists that his feelings are genuine. He has felt this way since their first conversation but was afraid to admit it for fear of her pushing him away. They share a tender embrace and kiss, but their moment is interrupted when Alicia knocks and informs John that Miss Martha has invited him to dine with everyone at the school. After everyone learns that John will be joining them for dinner, all the girls dress up and get ready. At the table, they try to capture John's attention. After dinner, they play music, and he attempts to flirt with Alicia while Edwina is away. When Edwina arrives, John asks if he can meet her later that night, but before she can respond, Miss Martha invites him to join her for a drink. As they sit together, Miss Martha reminisces about similar dinner gatherings her father used to host. As they converse, John reassures her that the war will soon come to an end. Miss Martha then gathers everyone for the evening prayer, where they include a special request for John's safe return to his unit. They have come to realize that the enemy is not what they once thought. They used to see them as more complex individuals. After the prayer, as everyone heads to their rooms, Miss Martha and John are the last to remain, exchanging goodnight wishes. They nearly share a kiss, but they are interrupted by noise coming from the girls upstairs. Later that night, Edwina prepares herself for the night, eagerly waiting for John. However, instead of coming to her room, he quietly sneaks into Alicia's room, where they start to get romantic. Edwina hears footsteps and waits for a while, but when John does not come in, she decides to check on him. As she steps out, she hears giggling coming from Alicia's room and enters, planning to tell them to go to sleep. To her shock, she finds John and Alicia together. John quickly stands up and tries to explain, but Edwina pushes him away, causing him to stumble down the stairs and further injure his wounds. The sound of his fall wakes everyone up. Seeing John's wound bleeding, the girls start to cry while Miss Martha tries to stay calm and help him. Edwina stands in shock, and Alicia falsely claims that John attacked her and that Edwina was fighting him off. Miss Martha quickly takes John to treat his leg and tells all the students to return to their beds. She then informs Edwina that they need to amputate John's leg to save him, explaining that if they do not act quickly, the leg will become mortified by morning. She asks Edwina to retrieve some supplies along with the anatomy book. A few days later, John wakes up to find that his leg has been amputated, and he screams in pain and anger. Edwina rushes in to try to calm him, but he lashes out at her, insisting she leave the room. Miss Martha rushes in and quickly takes Edwina away, locking John in the room to ensure he does not hurt her students. He begins to curse the women in the house, frightening the other students, who feel they have no choice but to endure his outbursts. After some time, Alicia arrives to visit John, but he threatens her, insisting that she bring him the key to his room. Later, while the women are having tea, John bursts out of his room and unleashes his fury on them. He accuses Miss Martha and Edwina of jealousy because he chose Alicia instead of them. In his rage, he starts throwing things around the room. Amelia, hoping to calm him down, approaches, but he throws her pet turtle across the room, hurting both the turtle and Amelia's feelings. As John storms out of the kitchen, Miss Martha tells Amelia to tie a blue rag on the gate to signal for help. Amelia does this, but as she turns to leave, John captures her. She screams for help, prompting Miss Martha to rush to her rescue. When Miss Martha arrives, she finds Amelia being threatened by John, who is holding her revolver. In an effort to protect the students, Miss Martha welcomes him back to the school. There he expresses feelings of betrayal from the women and threatens to kill any of them without hesitation if they plan to harm him. As he leaves the room, Edwina follows him to his room and barricades the door with a cupboard, leading to a tense standoff. While they are inside, Miss Martha and the other students discuss how to deal with John's violence. They want to find a way to get rid of him without resorting to brutality. During their conversation, they realize that he has a fondness for mushrooms, so they decide to cook a poisonous mushroom for him. Miss Martha instructs Amelia to quickly gather some mushrooms from the woods without being noticed. They then invite John and Edwina to dinner and prepare several other dishes. When John and Edwina arrive, Miss Martha reassures him that there are no hard feelings and that the meal is meant to celebrate his journey ahead. John also expresses his gratitude for their patience during his outbursts. As they begin to eat, John is served the poisonous mushrooms. He tries to put some on Edwina's plate, but the students remind him that she does not like them, so he refrains. They all start eating, and while Miss Martha casually discusses daily life at the school, John takes several bites of the mushrooms. Soon, he struggles to breathe and collapses to the ground, lifeless. Except for Edwina, no one seems to show concern about his death. After the incident, the students carefully place John's body into a sack while Edwina stands nearby, overwhelmed with devastation. Once they finish sewing the sack closed, everyone, including Edwina, carries it outside to the entrance gate. They tie a blue rag to the gate as a signal for the patrol to see, hoping they will come and take his body.